A trail cam in rural Georgia, a dash cam rolling through North Carolina at 2 a.m., a jogger in San Antonio who stopped mid-run and pulled out her phone. 3 different people, 3 different states, 3 descriptions that match each other almost word for word, and none of them knew the others existed. This is where we are in 2025 with Dogman Reports. And I'll be honest with you, I've covered a lot of strange things on this channel, but something about the current wave of sightings is making it genuinely harder to brush off. Not because I've decided it's real, but because the pattern of evidence is shifting in a way that demands at least a serious look. So let's go through it carefully, because the detail that shows up in almost every single recent report, and I mean the specific detail that connects a retired sheriff's deputy in Michigan to a hiker in the Scottish Highlands, that part comes later. And when we get there, I think it's going to sit with you. First, let's establish what witnesses are actually describing. Not the cartoon werewolf, not the Hollywood monster. What people report is something bipedal, standing between 7 and 9 feet tall, covered in dark fur, often described as coarse, almost matted, with a distinctly canine head. Not bear, not human. Something that moves wrong. Witnesses consistently say the movement is what breaks them. The way it pivots, the way it runs on 2 legs but drops to 4 when it accelerates. One woman in Mississippi described it this way: it moved like it had too many joints. Now here's the thing, these descriptions have existed in folklore for centuries. Indigenous traditions across North America, the Wahila, the Shunka-Warakan, describe large, predatory, wolf-like creatures that don't quite fit any known animal. So either this is a deeply embedded cultural archetype that people are unconsciously pattern matching onto ambiguous encounters, or something is actually out there generating consistent reports across unconnected time periods and geographic locations. Hold that question, because now we need to talk about what's different in 2025. The footage. That's what's different. In March of this year, a trail cam set up by a deer hunter in Lumpkin County, Georgia, captured something that has since been analyzed by multiple people with wildlife biology backgrounds. The figure in the footage is upright. It crosses the frame in approximately 4 seconds. It does not move like a bear. Bears, when they stand bipedally, shuffle, they wobble, they're clearly uncomfortable. Whatever this is, it moves with purpose, and the estimated height, based on the tree markers in frame, puts it at just over 7 feet. Is it a man in a suit? Possibly. That's always the first explanation, and it's a legitimate one. But here's what makes that harder to accept in this specific case. The trail cam location was on private land with no marked trails. The owner says no one had permission to be there.
And the nearest road is 3 miles through dense forest. Then there's the North Carolina dash cam footage, captured on a rural highway outside of Asheboro around 2:15 in the morning. The driver, a long-haul trucker with over 20 years on the road, was already slowing down because something was in the lane ahead. What the camera catches is something crossing from the tree line on the left, pausing for just a moment in the headlights, then disappearing into the right shoulder at a speed that the driver described as inhuman. The figure is upright. The silhouette shows a non-human head shape. The driver posted the footage with almost no commentary. He just wrote, "I don't know what that was. Someone tell me what that was." And that's the tone that keeps showing up. Not excitement, not performance, confusion and unease from people who clearly wish they hadn't seen what they saw. Now, here's the layer I promised you, the one that genuinely unsettled me when I found it. Across independent reports, not from the same community, not from people who follow Dogman forums, but from random witnesses who filed reports with wildlife agencies or posted on general subreddits, a specific behavioral detail keeps appearing. The creature, when it becomes aware of being watched, stops. It turns, and it watches back, silently, for an extended period, sometimes minutes. One report from a wildlife officer in Ontario described approaching what she initially thought was an injured animal near a logging road. She stopped her truck, the figure stood up from a crouching position she estimated from around 50 meters away, and simply stared at her vehicle for what she believes was close to 4 minutes before walking into the tree line without any sign of alarm or hurry. A man camping alone in the Ozarks reported the same thing. Woke up at around 3 a.m. to movement outside his tent, unzipped the flap and saw a large dark shape standing near the tree line. It was already looking at him. It stayed there, unmoving, for what he estimates was 2 to 3 minutes, then left. A teenager in rural Finland, filed on a European anomalous encounter database, described something watching her from the edge of a forest for so long that she filmed it on her phone before it retreated. The footage is blurry and inconclusive, but the shape is bipedal and large. That behavioral signature, the prolonged, calm, silent observation, doesn't match known predator behavior.
Predators assess and act, they don't linger. And it doesn't match misidentification of bears because bears don't stare down humans from a stationary position for multiple minutes in the open. So what is the most plausible interpretation of all this? Option 1, we're looking at a genuine undiscovered species, large, intelligent, reclusive, something that's been ghost-like enough to avoid definitive documentation for centuries.
Possible, but the sheer size these witnesses describe would require enormous range in food sources. Cryptozoologists point to the Pacific Northwest's documented large primate fauna gaps as at least theoretical space for something like this to exist. Option 2, misidentification cascades. As Dogman content spreads online, more people are pattern-matching ambiguous nighttime encounters onto a preloaded image. Bears, large feral dogs, humans in dark clothing at distance. The brain fills in the gaps. This is real, documented, and explains a percentage of reports for sure. Option 3, and this is where it gets genuinely strange. Some researchers in the anomalous phenomenon space have noted that Dogman reports cluster geographically in ways that overlap with other anomalies. UAP sightings, missing persons clusters, magnetic anomaly zones. Whether that's meaningful correlation or apophenia is genuinely unclear. But it means that even if we explain the creature away, we might still be left with something unexplained underneath it. Here's where I land, and I hold this loosely. I think a significant portion of Dogman reports are misidentification, especially in high-stimulus, low-light conditions where the brain is already primed for threat detection. I think some footage is staged. But I also think there is a residual category, a set of encounters including some of the 2025 footage that doesn't collapse easily under those explanations. The behavioral consistency across disconnected witnesses, the geographic spread, the fact that people with nothing to gain keep coming forward shaken rather than excited. That residual category deserves honest attention, not ridicule and not credulity, just attention. Because here's the thing about truly unexplained phenomena. They don't wait for our permission to be real. They just keep showing up. On trail cams, on dash cams, in the headlights of long-haul trucks on dark roads at 2 in the morning. If you've had an encounter, anything that fits what we talked about today, drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and I take them seriously. And if you want to keep going down this road together, subscribe. We're just getting started.